That's looking really, really good. You are now watching Farming with Duffy Ag. I did say we were done planting corn, but I might take a nice easy day. I got a few spots where nothing really grew up. One being that minimal till operation that we did there, and another spot being the wet spot where I almost buried the disc that now isn't wet because, you know, it hasn't rained. So we're gonna go over, just disc it up, see where we get to. I'm pretty exhausted, to be honest. It's Thursday. We've been pushing cows at the high school for a startup. Lack of sleep before that. It's definitely wearing on me, but I got a lot of things we got to still do. This place has got to get cleaned out. That's a full day weekend project. We got tires to swap around. We got the chopper to work on. Yeah, but we'll jump in a tractor and mess around a little bit. This is some of the last corn that I planted. Well, stuff that's up out of the ground. This stuff looks pretty nice. I did mess up here, but I went around this rock, so that's kind of what I was doing here. We got a big open spot, but as you see, where we planted into green material, very minimal of the corn ever came up. There's just too much residual to get through. Since then, I've actually sprayed this area, and well, everything's dying off. So my thought is come through, disc it down, because if we don't plant anything, nothing, it's gonna just grow back to weeds, and then next year we're not any better. But it looks good, and then all of a sudden nothing. So I'm gonna disc it under, disc all of this little bit that came up. Not too worried. I'll clean it up some, and then we'll try replanting it, because, well, that's part of it. And why I didn't actually plow any of this, I don't know how much rock is underneath it. I didn't feel like picking it, and that's kind of my mindset there. You ready to go? See, this stuff came up halfway decent, but it's gonna be more of a burden. It goes around and then it tapers off, and then there's nothing. Oh, and it goes, it's fertilizing my field. There we go. Good work. Good work, kid. Well, it's actually working out very, very nicely. I got it just folded up. I'm just using the inside, more weight to it. This tractor doesn't like pulling them wide open anyways, so figured that's the best. When I get done, I'll open it right up and we'll disc it level. And then we got one other spot to go to. And as you hear, there's rocks underneath there and everything else. So, nature of farming in the Northeast. It's amazing the difference in the conditions. So all up in the top there is really, really beautiful. And then, well, you can see it's all short and sad over here. So it was wetter ground that got planted when it was wet, and the seed just struggled. So nitrogen levels, the other side of the field looks good. Out over here, all the windows are dirty from the dust. But I'm gonna clean up this little wet spot because, well, it's not raining, so we can plant it. I'd really like it to rain though. That's better. Cleaned it up. We'll put a little bit of seed in there. I even did one pass across here, just because when the ground's wet like that, and our fields go from sandy to wet, or sandy to wet areas really quickly, it just doesn't grow well. It never takes off, and then it never is good. Now that it's got some, well, we're drier, much drier. We actually, it's supposed to rain, and then it just disappears, so pretty depressing on that side of it. But let me pull up here. We'll jump out and we'll check out what we got. I guess I missed right here. What did I do there? There's no corn planted. I don't even know. That's odd. I don't know what I was doing, but let's check this out. So all this was planted same time. I don't know what went on there. It's like nothing ever grew. I did plant it. That's odd. Come back, spray it again, clean it up. So this stuff knee tall, knee high, I guess is the saying, but this stuff cleaned up really well from getting sprayed down, and it got source on it, so we'll have to do a check of the field where I got the control, and I got more to spray, but that's looking really, really good. So I am very, very pleased with all of this. We'll go over here. Outside row is not as impressive. We're starting to dry up, as you see. But still, that's good looking corn. It's just the wet spots it struggles in. So, and also you can see where manure, it doesn't get heavy manure. So I've been more aggressive on getting manure right up to the edge and making sure we do tillage right up to the edge, because that's the big struggle. But water is going to be our big struggle this year, which is a disappointment because, well, last year it rained all year. Alrighty, I'm gonna have corn all over the place as far as stages, just the nature of it. But we'll jump back in, go drop these discs, and throw the planter on just to do, what is it, 2 acres. I had this big ambition that I was gonna go disc that stuff up. We're gonna jump in the planter, get it planted. 7:40 at night already, or in the evening. Motivation is about 0. I am I'm exhausted, but that's the nature of it. I got a couple more days of really pushing hard, and then can start wrenching on some stuff. Well, next week's gonna be a long week starting up the robot barn. But yeah, the biggest thing that I lost motivation, my sister and my father, they went over to the local barbecue place, which I do love good barbecue. They got this brisket sandwich. Oh, that was really good. That's the first time I've had it. So that was really good. But I'm gonna just get this tractor unhooked. We're gonna call it good for the day. So I got it locked up. Disc in rocky ground, it's just the nature of it. So like that blade, what's rubbing? One of the scrapers. Oh yeah, it's loose. Yeah, beat up blades and stuff like that. That's rocky ground. So we'll get it unhooked. The other thing that's really disappointing, when these SCVs, these quick couplers here, so this has 3 hydraulics, which makes 6 ports. When they start failing, they start leaking like that. So that's cool. 1,400 hours and it's already failing. At least mine leak, but they're, what's 74? Almost 48 years. So plows are sitting here. We'll get them taken off. I gotta put the jack underneath. I don't think I'm gonna leave them here. Tire's still flat. Imagine that didn't fix itself. Well, I do kind of wish I had more ground to plow. It just, some people get really revved up about it, like really revved up. And somebody did say I should no-till a section of that field instead of planting it or plowing it, to do a side-by-side. We no-tilled a section and then we went and dissed it because it didn't grow very well. That is why we do tillage around here. Yes, and the farm does have a pull type chopper. This actually was purchased when I was in New Zealand, and it went the other way. It went to a smaller size. So this is a 3955. Would have been purchased in 2014, 2015, the fall of 2014, the winter of 2015. And they purchased it because they realized how much fun it was wrenching on the old one that I kept alive for way too long. I should have let it just die. But it was their chopper. And I'm sitting here. So this broke after they ran it for a little bit. And this chopper has a lot less life in it than mine, or abuse. But I'm sitting here. I'm pretty sure that bearing down there is out. Clearly this is not attached to that any longer, which that's not good. But they parked it. Oh, and the chain that runs around everything, that goes from, where's that go from? It goes over here and goes around there. Oh, it just feeds from the back to the front. I think the knife is, or the rollers on the other side. But yeah, this is a 3955. No processor, so right there, that's a loss. And this was one of the last years that Deere actually ever made pull type chopper, and then Dion built them. And the Dion chopper painted green, Deere green, is like 100,000. So why not just buy a used self-propelled? You can buy a pretty nice used self-propelled for 100,000. So, but this thing sits here. It's just, yeah, never did it for me. I think he spent 30 some $1,000 on this thing. So we'll do a walk around, since I lost motivation, and I am keeping the daily content coming to you guys because I like the challenge. We'll see how far we can go, but it's tiring when I got a lot of work to do off the farm as far as getting some content into you guys. So we'll do a little walk around, see what's going on here today. So most of the dry cows are actually out on pasture. They didn't move them. Somebody asked where we're putting our sawdust. So this was built for a close-up dry cow pen to put them in before they calve, actually. So right now there's only 4 dry cows in here, and they're all gonna calve early enough. Oh no, the bull is in here. What are you doing, dude? I hate bulls. I think they're a tool to cover up poor management as far as breeding. That's what I think, because genetically you're not getting ahead as fast as AI. Yes, they're a tool. They catch cows that you just don't see. They're a hell of a heat detection program. So heavy on the corn silage right now. We're burning through it like anything, so we got to slow that down now that the grass is in there. But then doing dry hay on top of it. So fans are on. We're supposed to get into the 90s this weekend, which isn't good. I do a walkthrough and a rough overview of what goes on in here in past videos, so go check it out. But 2 robots milking around 120, 124 cows. That's our sweet spot. We'll walk down here, see what else is going on. So yeah, right now it's not too bad. I wish it would friggin' rain though. Hey, you want the rain? He killed a woodchuck yesterday, or Tuesday, which was good. A little Grievely action. This is actually my sister's husband's, but I believe so. We borrowed it to mow the side hills on the bunkers and mow around spots that we can't get equipment in really well. But I think we got something coming that we might have got hooked up with to demo it out and see how we like it. So we're gonna see in future videos what exactly goes on. But yeah, you get all these spots around the farm. This is kind of a steeper side hill, but manure pit. Can you guys see in there? So it's coming up a little bit, not much. So after next cutting of grass, then we'll put more manure on. And then yeah, we'll do those, and then it will get eventually full enough. And when we go into or cover crop after corn, we'll empty it all the way down on that. Well, for those of you who do not know, this is the original Duffy Ag tanker. This thing was, Duffy Ag was not even known thing when I did this. Came from Evan's uncle's place that Evan now owns in New York. Sokoloff there in Boonville. And ran this for a while, and because it sits, it's tired, and I put tires on it that were ridiculous amount of money, put the roof on it, and then I bought that Husky tanker and never looked back. So that's why it sits here. Well, yeah, pasture's getting a little dry because it hasn't rained. And yes, there's a lot of random stuff laying around. A lot of it's mine. So like the spare heads, tankers, tires, my corn head. I wish I could put it in a better situation. Cultivators. What else we got? My corn head, my other grass head. This gooseneck trailer. A lot of people said, why don't you run that? Well, it needs brakes. It needs tires. It's hydraulic setup. It's actually a pretty sweet trailer. We got sides for it. But as far as tendering water, it would be very tight as far as putting the tanker on it, or the tanker itself. But I do agree it should get used for something. Last time I really used it, we used to move the excavator with it, but we haven't moved the excavator because it's sitting out front. I'm still waiting on some decision making. Cows are out on pasture, or dry cows are out on pasture. They did add a few out here, so they're cleaning up what we chopped. And we didn't chop that long ago, and nothing's really growing because, well, it kind of stopped raining. So they're cleaning up the edges, and then they'll get this middle alleyway, and then they'll go back over there. So we got to do some rotary mowing, clean up around some fields, and clean up out there that stuff they didn't actually eat all the way. Well, yeah, it's a nice night, other than I wish it wasn't dry. And the heat sucks the moisture out of anything. So corn is going to be tough. They're saying Monday we're supposed to get some corn. So previously did the cultivating. This was the old setup. This bar, 6-row planter, 15 foot wide. Yes, I threw the flags on it after the first time I ran it. But somebody did make the good comment, and it's kind of what I was thinking about, pulling it in, putting some hoops on it, being able to pull it in all the way so it doesn't bounce around, which would also draw them in. And we'll take off all the discs, so we'll just zing these off in the near future here. But our next thing is to do, finish that. Oh, they did put a block underneath it. That's cool. Oh, he tried to put that and then it broke, so we'll get a U-bolt, we'll straighten some of that out. But they did put a block, so that's nice. We'll plant that little bit of corn, then we're going to dive back into spraying. We'll do some rotary mowing, then we'll just be wrenching. Like, we got a ton of wrenching to do. Well, that's the nature of it. You get through, you get back into it. What are we doing, juniors? Y'all were loud last night. What, you camera shy? No, you just want to lick my hands. How we doing? Everybody good? Everybody's good? Yeah? So they're separated due to many different things. Biggest thing is safety, so that they live, and health, so that they don't nurse on each other. If you leave them in with their mothers for a long period of time, they have the ability to get crushed, trampled, or neglected, or they can overdrink, underdrink, and you don't know how much they're actually getting, and then before you know it, they are sick, and it's really tough to bring you back from being sick, ain't it? You're cute. How old are you? 3 days? 4 days? I think you're 4 days. Yeah. But that's why they go into individual housing, and then they're put back in group housing. But they'll nurse each other, and then cause 3/4 calves or udders that are just not there, and that's not ideal when you're milking cows. So they all hang out, have a good time. We get a lot of entertainment between each other, right? And then they'll go into group party housing and run around and do hood rat things with their friends. Yeah. Best way to raise calves, it's just very labor intensive, such as when it snows, digging it out, we bed with straw, keeping the straw in it, cleaning the straw out, so adding water in the summer, stuff like that. But best way to raise calves in my eyes. Alrighty, you ready to go home, Yanko? We'll have an earlier night tonight. We'll get some packages out. I've been a little behind on sending merchandise out because by the time I get done, it's exhausting, or we had the holidays and weekends and stuff like that. Yeah, if you haven't done so, hit up the store, duffyag.com. Get yourself some merch. Because I'm going to get out of here, fill some orders. I appreciate you guys watching along. A little short video. Keep you guys up to date on what's going on out here. And I guess we'll see you on the next one between me and Yanko, and we'll get some more done. And I hope you're all praying for some rain. I think the Northeast needs a lot of it. The Midwest doesn't need much of it. But yeah, it's a crazy year. Everybody knows that. So, alrighty, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. It is raining. That is really what we needed. So it's only supposed to rain like 1/10 of an inch, but whew, that's better than nothing, right? Alrighty, that was good news.